Welcome back to the IDP Pros podcast. My name is Johny The Greek. I am joined this week, just like every week, with my good friend, my main man, the IDP tipster, Mr. Gary Van Dyke. Gary, what's happening?
Hey, man, I'm just excited to be back in the saddle. You know, we've been rolling again here on the Players Pod, man, after a little hiatus. So got a little different venue, but, man, I'm excited.
Right back to where we started at IDP, guys.
Yeah, no shit, right? What's the odds?
Yes, sir. So yeah, we did pretty good last week. What was it?
Yes, you did.
5-2, and then 11-5 the week before. This could be rough though, man. This is a tough week. It looks like.
Yeah, sometimes less is better, but only makes it tougher, man, because Vegas knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, DraftKings, such.
They sure
baiting
do.
people.
Yes, sir. So yeah, we'll cover some team lines. Gary's got some nice IDP props, I would venture a guess. Yep.
Yep.
Sweet. We'll take you through each game. Before we get into it, just a quick reminder, these are only suggestions. Please gamble within your means and set a limit. For help with problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get into it. We got Texans at Ravens outdoor game for the first one on Saturday to kick things off for the divisional round. So this is an outdoor game. Whether it's probably going to be cold. I don't think we're getting snow in Baltimore. I know we are in Buffalo. So, oh boy. So on paper, the Texans should win, and they should win. Or excuse me, the Ravens should win, and they should win by more than 9.5. So that's my initial thought is Ravens minus 9.5. I am a little worried that they had the bye. They could be a little bit rusty, but just in terms of talent, playoff experience, caliber of defense, etc., the Ravens are leaps and bounds better than the Texans and should annihilate them. Stroud has been great, but this is still only his second playoff game ever. He's still a rookie, and he has not faced anything like this Ravens defense yet. So I'm going to go Ravens minus 9.5 at minus 110 right there. And that's what I'm thinking. What do you got for this one, Gary?
I have to agree, man. I don't see how Houston's going to upset Baltimore. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's going to run the ball. He's going to pass the ball. He can consistently carry this team, So, kudos to former Buckeye Stroud. That's a tall order to go into Baltimore. I do believe that maybe Sebastian brought it up last night. It is supposed to be cold, and if you didn't know it, the Baltimore Ravens, their stadium is right there in like a little bay area, right on the coast. So a little bit of wind's going to be involved. So yeah, I got to lean towards Baltimore Ravens winning this myself. And that leads me into my IDP players prop bet for DraftKings. And I'm going to go with Ravens Justin Madubuike. Interior defensive lineman, right? Huh?
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, I think close enough. Yeah. All right. So Madubuike. Justin Madubuike, but he's been a stud this year, man. Nice breakout interior defensive line. It's been a long time since Baltimore's had a productive guy on the inside able to record the stats, and he's been able to do it this year, and he's done it at an above par grade. So I don't have any problem with Justin Madubuike getting over 1.5 assists at plus 160. All right. Woo. So it's a nice little payoff here. This is going to be a productive game. Houston's been a top 10 team allowing any type of production on the inside all season long. Now, I know they've gotten better. All right. And they did manage to stifle the edge rushers for Cleveland last week because of their healthy line, but they still allowed some interior defensive production to, of all people, Dalvin Tomlinson, which has done shit. And it's just by force of matchup. So when you've got a stud lined up like Madubuike on one of the best defenses this year in the NFL, I have no problem thinking that he's going to really anchor this scheming for this game. For the simple fact is the rest of the pass rushers on the outside, not like they just shut down Myles Garrett. Houston did. Myles Garrett and Jerry Smith. Neither one of them got a sack. So I don't think rotation of the average or just on par players that they have with Van Noy or anything is going to be as effective as what Madubuike could be disruptive inside. So I don't have any problem seeing him getting like 4 to 5 combined tackles, even a sack in this situation. He has been a beast.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you mentioned that. I was looking at that myself for my own bets earlier today. I think his combined tackle line is like 2.5 or something. It's insanely low for Madubuike, however you say it. That just seems like a slam dunk. So I'm with you on that. And then great point that you and Sebastian had about the weather and the Bay. The Texans are a finesse team. They're a dome team. They need their passing offense to be working. It's not going to work as well against an excellent defense outdoors at a windy stadium when it's cold.
Yep.
Beautiful. Good stuff there. All right. Saturday night game is Packers at Niners. This one's also outdoors, but it's in California, so who cares? It'll be fine. Packers, man, plucky little team there. Beat the hell out of my Cowboys, but not super shocked by that. This is San Fran is not Dallas, though. San Fran is the one that normally destroys Dallas. San Fran is probably going to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. They are just light years better than the Packers. And while the future is bright for Jordan Love and the Packers and CJ Stroud and the Texans, I think this is the end of the road. So I'm also going to take Niners here, also at -9.5, -112. Should be a bloodbath. Home game for the 1 seed against an inferior opponent. Should be a done deal.
Yeah, I think you covered that altogether. They're well rested. They've gotten to look at some tape from last week of the first round. Yeah, there's no way I could see that the 49ers aren't going to be prepared. There are a few little holes in their defense here and there, but it's not. I mean, overall, it's just packed with studs. So I'm going to go with 49ers Fred Warner over 7.5 combined tackles or total tackles at a -130. All right. Fred Warner, again, is an elite graded linebacker. He's actually averaged during the regular season over 8.5 combined tackles to begin with. All right. Then we're going to throw in the situation where Drew Greenlaw is actually pretty questionable with an Achilles injury. So even if they bring in a backup or so, I just don't see how Warner is not going to bring his A game against a Packers team that all of a sudden found a running game again and has Love doing his thing. So I think Fred Warner is going to clear that 7.5 combined tackles with no problem.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too, man. The biggest downside for Warner this year was that San Fran would kill people and he'd be out early and we'd only get 60-70% of snaps. It's a playoff game, man. Unless this thing is like an absolute bloodbath, Warner's going to play 100% of snaps, and even garbage time, should be enough to get him there. Should be enough.
Yep, I would say so.
Nice. Good stuff there. All right. Moving on to the Sunday games. First one is Tampa Bay going to Detroit, indoor game, so we don't have to worry about weather or any of that. Pretty good over under here. So yeah, initial thought here is I think Detroit wins. I just don't think they can do it by more than 6 points. That's a touchdown win. They did beat Tampa Bay earlier this year and beat them handily. It is very hard to beat a team twice like that in a season, especially in a playoff rematch. So I feel like it's going to be a much closer game. So I don't want the -6. I would say Lions -278 at the money line over there would be my pick. It's not a great price, but what you can do is see how Gary's got the parlay going down there. You could either parlay this to get a little bit better payout, or you could parlay round robin it so that you can still lose 1 or 2 of these and still make money on top of it. And your parlay is not sunk if you lose one of these. So that's what I would probably do because that price isn't great, but that's what I got.
Nice. I'm going to go with Lions defensive end stud Aian Hutchenson and over 1.5 assisted tackles at +170. I thought this was a nice juicy one considering. I love these types of numbers when it comes down to it because it kind of reflects what happened with the same numbers with the Rams last week, which I'll get to But what on paper, how it reads is that Tampa Bay is not actually allowing a huge amount of the production off the edge as much as they are on the interior. So Mayfield has been sacked a lot, though. But we're talking about Aian Hutchenson, which is an elite-like player to begin with, and he's been killing it. And he's been, I would say, matchup proof to a decent point, because what happens in the ones that he doesn't necessarily get in the backfield or sacks and tough coverage, he still gets the production. So he's capable of getting the assist and plenty of combined tackles, which I'm going to use that example, because this basically looks like what it was with the Rams last week, and he came up with like 4 combined, 2 sacks and 2 assists. This guy's going to bring his A game, and he's going to bring it. It's not that bad of a situation He's going to bring his A game, and I have no problem thinking that he's going to clear 1.5 assisted tackles at plus 170. It's worth the bet.
Yeah, that's a great price. Plus 170 to just get a couple assists. That's incredible. I like that quite a bit. Hutchinson's one of those guys one of those few defensive ends. There's like a handful, like him, Max Crosby, Garrett, guys like that, TJ Watt when he's healthy, that play a ton of snaps too. Most defensive ends, it's like 60%, and you're feeling pretty good about it. Hutchinson's 80, 85, 90. So we're getting that extra playing time too. I'm with you on that. You trust it. We always say trust your studs regardless. In the playoffs, you really trust your studs.
Yeah. And another advantage, I mentioned that this interior defensive line that they like to allow a lot of the production to, including sacks. I mean, he's got Aian McNeil in there. He's playing right next to you, that's having another great season for an interior defensive lineman. He's been really consistent, and he's a beast to deal with. And those two playing next to each other is nothing but a big bonus for Hutchinson.
Yep. Yep, I like that. And then I heard, wasn't it James Houston's coming back too? So that's not going to affect Hutchinson, but the other side will rotate a little more, be a little fresher. That could help him.
Yep. You can check out McNeil and a couple of the other bets. I got one for Chris Jones, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You can check that out on the first edition with me and Sebastian. You got some juicy lines. I think McNeil, when I placed the call last night, it was like at 200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep, I like it. Mayfield's going to get put on his back at least a couple times this game. He sacked like 4 and a win. They won by what? They didn't win by a lot, and he still got sacked 4 times.
Right. Yeah, they won by like 25 or 30. He still got sacked a bunch. Yeah.
Yep. I just didn't I didn't bring the Hutchinson sack number because he's probably in for a sack too, but it was probably pretty low, and I liked his plus 170.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. If we looked at his sack prop, it's probably minus something, minus 140, whatever. And look at the over under on this game, 49.5. So Vegas is telling us they think this is a shootout. In a shootout, we're going to get more dropbacks, and that's more opportunity for sacks.
Yep.
Good stuff there. All right, moving on to the Sunday evening game. I legitimately have no idea. Vegas thinks that the Bills are going to win by a little tiny bit, 2.5 points there. Boy, the Bills already beat the Chiefs earlier this year in a squeaker. The Chiefs could have won that game. That's the game where one of their terrible wide receivers, can't remember which one, was lined up offsides, and that screwed them.
Tony?
Yes, Tony. Thank you. Yep, that guy.
I had him in my lineup that game. Yeah.
Right. So this was super close the first time around. I have no idea how it's going to go this time around. What I would say is under 45.5. This is, once again, outdoors in Buffalo. They have brought a bunch of people in to clear the snow. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. It's going to be snowy. And these two defenses are spectacular. They're very good. So that's probably the move, under 45.5. It's not going to be a shootout.
Which leads me to, originally I went with Chris Jones in last night's first edition to get a sack. So make sure you check it out. Again, it's better off here when it comes to the payouts. But I got to love George Karlaftis over 1/4 of a sack at plus 130. It's technically not a great matchup on paper for him per se, because there's not huge allowing off the edge. But, again, we're looking at an interior defensive line opportunity, that playing next to Chris Jones, which is a massive pass rusher from the interior defensive line. Karlaftis has shined all year in the same situation, and he keeps coming up with the sacks and the production. So even though he's not elite like himself, being next to Chris Jones takes his game to a next level when it comes to getting production. And even like last week, Alex Highsmith, and playing in place of TJ Watt, he did get to the quarterback last week off the edge. I think it's just going to be one of those situations where it's going to be a ground and pound up there on the front line. I think you just kind of covered that in your take, how it's going to be cold up there again and such. So I think there's going to be a great chance that Karlaftis will come out of this with a sack at plus 130.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that, man. He's been great all year. And is it a half sack or a full that he needs?
A quarter.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that. And if I'm wrong, if this thing does end up being more of a shootout, that's just more opportunity for Karlaftis right there. And he's a good option to begin with.
So you're going with the under, man. I'll tell you, if I had to flip a coin, though, if I really had to flip a coin, I'm going to bet on Mahomes and Andy Reid in this. And I would go with the plus 2.5 at plus 100 if I was going to. But hey, that's just, don't quote me, and probably don't listen to me on that. But this is not my main business, is not doing the team line. So yeah, listen to Johnny.
Hey, so I agree with you, right? So in a vacuum, the Chiefs getting 2.5 points at plus 100, which is a great price, and they're getting points, is a spectacular bet. I am just more sure that with a foot of snow on the ground, cold, windy, disgusting, and two great defenses, that will get fewer than 45.5 points, then I am sure that the Chiefs will win. That's all.
Right. Yep. Logical.
Yep.
Sweet.
Beautiful. Any parting words, my friend?
Hook them up. We just
That's
gave
right.
you some great options, and again, he's killing it. I love these picks this week. I think we got another winner, brother.
I hope so, my friend. I hope so. But thank you, everyone, for listening, and we wish you good luck this week. And we'll be bringing it back next week for NFC, AFC title games, and also the Super Bowl. So we'll catch you soon.
On the ball.
Thank you for watching this IDP Guys video. If you like this content and you want more fantasy football content, click here. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos to help you master your IDP league, click here to subscribe.